Hello, everyone, and welcome to this workshop, which is part of the 2022 prep series. And in today's episode, we are going to discuss the Mercury Retrogrades. So, I'm actually really excited about this, and I'm coming from my couch because a little backstory. I always sit behind my desk to work, and hardly ever I take my laptop and work from the couch. But today I just had a bit of short night because I had a late coaching call last night, and this morning my daughter woke up at 5:30. So I just needed to relax a little bit, and I was comfortable on my couch instead of sitting on my chair in my desk. At my desk, I cannot sit in my desk. Uh, so coming from the couch today, hope you're comfortable as well. I'm excited that we have entered Sagittarius season, and it's also really a good opportunity to start diving into the vision of 2022 because Sagittarius is a lot about the vision, and that's why today I am going to cover the Mercury retrogrades. And if you read the intro that I wrote, that we are going to have not 3 but 4 Mercury retrogrades next year. We're very blessed to have that. And I'm actually really excited about that because I always find Mercury retrograde such a powerful catalyst to really propel your business, the way that you view things forward. So that's why I'm actually really excited about it. Also, what I think is very significant. So in 2020, we had all of the Mercury retrogrades in water signs. This year, we have all of them in air signs exclusively. Next year, they're going to start, or 3 of them are going to start in an air sign, and the retrograde will finish in an earth sign. The reason why I find this very interesting, and the reason why this really ties into the theme of next year, is because we're moving from the head back into the body, back into Mother Earth, back into deeply experiencing, I was gonna say feeling, but it's not about the feeling, because feeling is more of the water signs. This is deeply grounding. I thought, like, what other word, but grounding is really like the best word to describe this. And it really gives a beautiful insight into the themes that we are going to explore over these next few months. Sorry, my cold has come back a little bit. It's so much fun when the kids come back with all the colds from school. Some fresh ginger tea. So the Mercury retrogrades are going to invite us to explore things with our rational mind and then go back into our body. Start sensing the world through, or start experiencing the world through our senses. And the best way to do that is to get out of your head and into your body. So the first Mercury retrograde that we have, I'm just going to check my notes so that I don't forget anything. The first Mercury retrograde happens on January 14th until February 3rd. So it starts in Aquarius and then it shifts back into Capricorn on January 26th. So for roughly about 2 weeks we have Aquarius, and then it goes back into the earth energy of Capricorn. And then, of course, it's going to go direct, and it does the Capricorn Aquarius again. The reason why I want you to pay attention to this is because the Aquarius initiates the forward thinking, the thinking outside the box, and then reflecting that on your own life. So when Mercury usually rules our communicate, well, it still rules our communication also when it's a retrograde, but it rules our communication, transportation. It also rules technology. And when it turns retrograde, all of those topics, all of those themes are turned inwards. And when that happens in Aquarius, where if Mercury is in Aquarius, if it goes direct, then it's more about, hey, what is my position in this world? What is my, how do I communicate these new ideas, these things that I'm working with? When it goes into retrograde, it's more reflective on what have I been doing? What have I been creating? What have I been putting into this world that contributes to making the world a better place? The beauty of this is it moves back into Capricorn. Capricorn is disciplined. Capricorn is straightforward. It's a hard worker. So once we have explored that part of thinking outside the box, of exploring these topics, we can actually start moving through them in a practical way, because next year is really a lot about finding practical solutions. The earth energy is really strong next year. So this is another invitation of you to take that reflective energy that you have gained, I'm actually just literally like above my webcam, I have a bit, well, behind my webcam is a banana plant. And I just noticed that one of the leaves, I don't know if you have a banana plant. We used to have a lot of them in Thailand. We had a lot of bananas, but here I just have my plant, which I treasure a lot. But I just noticed that it's very beautiful how from the core of the plant, there is a new leaf emerging and it's completely rolled up. And then once the leaf is big enough, it actually slowly starts to uncurl. Is that a word? Uncurl. It's like to unfold. And I just noticed that it has unfolded quite a bit more than it had this morning. And I think that's a really beautiful metaphor where in this Mercury retrograde, especially the first one that we have from January 14th to February 3rd, there is this new leaf emerging. But if you try to open that leaf earlier than it's ready, it actually is going to rip, especially because the leaf of the banana plant rips very easily. So if you try to force that, then that leaf's actually going to die. So if we force our new ideas, our newfound insights to unfold faster than it can, then it will break. Because Capricorn is like, okay, let's do this. Yep, let's go. I see this needs to happen. Practical approach, let's go there. So mind yourself, especially at the end of that retrograde, that you don't try to unfold the leaf too fast. Don't push it too much, but let it uncurl in its own pattern, in its own rhythm. And that might not go as fast as you want, especially because we're still in Northern Hemisphere, you still in the middle of winter. Like January is like the middle of winter still. So allow yourself to kind of sit in that reflective state. Because every Mercury retrograde is a time to rest and reflect and review. And especially when the weather is that cold, allow yourself to explore these topics and kind of bask in the unknown. Because January, we're shifting from Capricorn energy to the Aquarius energy. So there is this dance between the air and the earth, the thinking and getting back to earth. So allow yourself to dance with that. Also interesting, when the retrograde starts, it is conjunct to Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn. So there is a lot of Saturn doesn't give us lessons very smoothly. It just gives us right in our faces. So this could be a retrograde that starts out with a little bit of stumbling, where you feel like you want to go, you feel like you're in this flow, but the Capricorn and the the Saturn energy is like, are you sure? So be mindful of that. The second one that we have, the second retrograde, starts on May 10th and lasts until June 2nd. It starts in Gemini, and then it switches to Taurus on the 22nd of May. So we have the mind starting the retrograde, and then we move into Taurus, which is very practical, very grounded energy. Interestingly, there are no major aspects while Mercury goes into retrograde. So I don't know if you heard about the void of course moon, which is that it doesn't make any aspects before it changes into another sign. This is kind of like a void where Mercury is in before it starts to make any new connection. So I think that's very interesting to note. So when Mercury in Gemini, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So it's very at home there. Our mind can go really fast in Gemini. It's like almost like this chitter chatter that goes on in your head. When it turns retrograde, that chitter chatter can maybe turn into negative self-talk, because there's so much going on. There's so much talking. There's so much like buzzing in your head that it might feel a little bit much. So be mindful of that. And then when it turns from Gemini back into Taurus, Taurus is a very grounded and sensual sign. Sensual in the sense that all of our senses need to get involved. It is turning inwards and turning reflective towards how do we experience the world? How does the world experiences your content, your business? How does that land in people's bodies? Even more so than the Capricorn, because the Capricorn is the responsible one, is the one that kind of take care of everybody. A lot of times Capricorn is associated with the father, but there's also like a motherly energy in it as well. Taurus energy, Taurus is ruled by Venus, is very much the sensual pleasures, the earthly pleasures of life. It is going out into nature. It's turning on all of your senses, basically. So we go from like the heavy mind energy back into the body, but that takes conscious thought and conscious directing of your attention to, okay, so there was a lot of thinking going on. I did a lot of reflecting on how you learn, how you take in information, how you gather information. And now it's time to switch from that and to go back into the body and to feel and experience things on a different level. Think about the bull. It just goes steadily. It just doesn't get really distracted easily, but once it does get fired up, it's like stubborn, go straight for the goal. So if you notice that during that retrograde, come back into your body, because really that connection with your body, and I know I said it quite a few times, but especially during next year, our connection with our body, our connection with practical things, make things in the garden. It's a beautiful time to actually start, because it's a springtime. It's actually getting close to summer, May to June. But it's a beautiful time to tend to your garden, to tend to your vegetable garden, to do something, to plant something, to be mindful and present when you're going outside, present when you are communicating things, because Mercury is about communication. So especially in that time, make it as practical as possible. So don't get distracted by all of the Gemini chitter chatter things going on. The next one that we have is from September 10th till October 2nd, and it starts in Libra, and then on September 23rd, it moves back into Virgo. Again, we have an air sign. Libra is trying to, we just had our last Mercury retrograde in Libra as well this year. And next year is going to, again, trying to find that new balance, trying to see relationship in a different light. But why I get so excited about this one next year is because it's redefining our relationships. And then we move back into Virgo. And Virgo is actually going to help to sift through the details and really be precise in how you move forward. So the Libra energy is beautiful to, actually what I used most of the Mercury retrograde in Libra this year for is to reconnect with people, or to send out new connections, to refer my friends to other people that I know they need to know. I was really busy with connections and relationships, and also redefining how myself, but also my clients, how we see competition, because I don't believe in competition, but how can you, because we still get triggered. I mean, even though we don't see other people, other business owners as competition, there's still sometimes is this trigger that shows up. So what I did is I really allowed myself to explore that trigger and to see like, hey, but how can I be of service? How can I reach out to them? How can I connect with them in a way that is genuine, is inviting, and that lifts both of us up? Again, we have the theme coming back next year, but because we have it moving into Virgo after that, we have the opportunity to then translate that in practical things, because Virgo is very precise, is very detail oriented. So you will be able to kind of take that energy, take that, the rebalancing, the redefining your relationships. And then how does that move forward? What practically does that look like? Because this year we just had Mercury in Libra, and then it moved forward into Scorpio, which made it a little bit more difficult to actually find a new ground. But now we have the Libra energy, the redefining, and then we get the Earth energy. Then we get practical. Then we can actually start to mold things and use the energy in a very practical sense. Michelle said triggers. Yeah, we all have triggers. We all still get triggered, and that is fine. It's just like what you do with it. And I think it's beautiful this coming Mercury retrograde in Libra next year, that we can actually explore the triggers and then also create a framework for ourselves, because Virgo is really beautiful at creating straight framework and structures that create a structure to I was gonna say protect ourselves, but to make sure that when these things show up, we kind of have a system to help ourselves move through it, recognizing the trigger, acknowledging it. It's okay that it's here. It's you're only human. We're only human. These things just show up. But how then do you move forward with that? How then are you going to create a system for yourself, or friends, or other people that you reach out to, your business bestie, I like mine, who I cannot live without. We sometimes call each other. I'm like, oh, did you see this? And then we move through it together, and then afterwards, like, oh my goodness, I know this is my stuff, that's her stuff, and we're all good. So get yourself somebody who does that for you, because it's especially next year going to be very, very helpful. Also, that third retrograde is opposing Chiron and Jupiter and trine Mars once it goes into retrograde. So there is this redefining of your identity, of exploring what you are opposed to what the relationship is. So that's also going to be a very interesting dynamic. The last Mercury retrograde that we have is only going to mean an earth sign. So we're going to close the year off and actually taking it into the new year with an earth sign. So it starts on December 29th, really at the very final part of 2022. And it will end on January 18, 2023, which feels like really, really far away. But I'm sure that will be here before we know it. And it happens in Capricorn. And once it goes retrograde, it's conjunct to the Sun, Venus, and Pluto. So when Mercury is in Capricorn, our communication becomes very disciplined, almost a bit emotionless, but sometimes that can actually be a good thing. I think sometimes we put maybe too much emotion into a conversation or a situation. This will actually help you to have those tough conversations where you need to be a bit more, I would say emotionless, because we all have emotions, but a bit less emotionally involved. So once it turns retrograde, it's our exploration of what is your relationship with your emotions in conversations. When does it help you? When doesn't? When can you be a bit more disciplined? And when is it okay to have more fun? Especially now we're in Sagittarius season, which is a lot about having fun and positivity. But when Mercury goes into retrograde in Capricorn, it's really an invitation to us to explore those topics of discipline, of how do you balance the things that you do and how are you able to keep moving forward. And what Capricorn also is, it's kind of like the wise father who lovingly pushes you into a certain direction, like, okay, but now it's time to do this. Now it's time to do your homework. Now it's time to come downstairs and eat. So think of it as we're going to close the year off with the wise father helping us, guiding us into a more disciplined, grounded, and practical approach in our business. I really think this is beautiful how that kind of takes us into the new year. And it's really going to be interesting, especially because it's conjunct to the Sun, Venus, and Pluto. Pluto is stirring up a lot of things. There is a Pluto return happening for the US, and I know a lot of you are not based in the US, but this is actually going to be major for the rest of us as well, because Pluto is about restructuring, is transformation. It is, especially with Uranus doing his thing as well, there are going to be a lot of unexpected changes happening last year. So it's really important that you treat these Mercury retrogrades as anchors for yourself throughout the year. So these 4 times in the year, see it as you kind of your boat is going with the waves. You are riding the waves because they go up and down a lot. There are quite a lot of extremes happening next year. So if while you're riding these waves, there will be a Mercury retrograde, and you lower your anchor so you stay in the same place for a while. I don't know the English word, but the word that popped in my head, the Dutch word, is like dobbelen. So you kind of like stay in one place. You're still like experiencing the waves, but you kind of stay in this place where you can actually look around. What is happening? Where did I come from? Where am I going? And then evaluate how can you go and move forward. So see these as anchor points throughout your year and have fun with it. I actually really enjoy Mercury retrogrades because it's a time where I can rest and reflect and review and really allow myself to take note of where I stand in my business. Like you have the new and the full moon, it's like kind of the check-in point, but this is like a longer period of time where you are given the opportunity to go within, to evaluate. And I think that actually makes me very excited. I hope after you listen to this workshop that you also feel excited about it and that you can't wait for everything to kind of move into 2022 with excitement of all the things that are going to happen. And if you have any questions about that, pop it in the chat and I'll be happy to respond, even if you're watching the replay. And if you're thinking, I need to know exactly how this is going to affect my business, because every retrograde hits another area of your life, because it hits another part of your chart. If you want to know more and you are like, I want to know exactly what is going to happen next year, how am I going to use these retrogrades to make sure that your team goes through it more smoothly, that you're able to go through it more smoothly, reach out to me, because I don't have any spots left for VIP for 1-day retreats this year, but next year I have opened up spots for January. And if you want to get some more information and book your 1-day retreat this year, you'll get it for the price of this year, because next year my prices are going to go up. Blah, blah, blah. See, this is what happens when you talk Mercury Retrogrades. Your words are kind of like blah. So if you want some more information, reach out to me, because I'd be happy to set up a call, and then we will see if 1-day retreat is something that is for your business at this time. See if we're a match. And if so, then you can book yours for the rate of 2021 before I'm going to raise it at the end of this year. I wishing you an amazing day. You're welcome, Wendy. Thank you so much for being here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And next week, I will be back with another workshop on what is going to happen in 2022. Bye-bye.